Our topic of today is consecutive integer problems. This is super hard, okay? So don't freak out. The word consecutive, what does it mean? Next to each other. Let me give you an example. Like Elizabeth is consecutive to Tyrana. You know what that is? She's like right next to each other. Yeah? What's up? That's true, but you are consecutive to one another. Doesn't matter whether you're in front or behind, but that brings up an interesting question. All that matters is that you're next to. So now let's talk about consecutive integers. Can you give me an example of 3 consecutive integers? 3 consecutive numbers, positive or negative, that are right next to each other. Sure. Let's just do an easy one. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3. You're okay with that? These are consecutive integers. There's lots of them. 79, 10, 11, 12. You understand? It had no. I'm just. It doesn't have to be 3 at all. I just picked 3 of them just to show you how it works. Now, here's the tricky part, right? You have to be able to write these numbers. Sometimes you don't know. Actually, in the beginning of all the problems, you don't know what the numbers are, and your goal is going to be to find these. So you have to write them out algebraically and then use the algebra to find them. So, if I told you that the first number was x, how could you write the second number using algebra? How far away is 2 from 1? What's the space between them? 1. So 2, if I were to write it out algebraically, is just x plus 1. Does that make sense? Because they're next to each other. If the first number is x, then the number next to it is just 1 away. It's x, the first one, plus 1 more. How would you write that third number? Oh, you guys are excellent. That's the hardest part about this. That's it. Okay? That's consecutive integers. Let's talk about, do you need a minute to take that down? Okay, sorry about that. Do consecutive even. Can somebody give me 3 even numbers that are next to each other? We could use 2, 4, and 6. Can you think of some other ones? I don't want to use 2, 4, and 6 on purpose. 8, 10, 12. But we could have used 2, 4, and 6. It just gets confusing. Okay, so 8, 10, and 12. Very nice. So we're going to do it the same way, right? If x represents that first even integer, how could you write the second one?
1.
Nope. X plus 2, because there's a space of 2 units between 8 and 10. Even numbers are not right next to each other. There's always an odd number separating them. That's why we had to do 2. Because the space between them. Think about how do you get from 8 to 10? How much space is there in between those 2 numbers? 2. That's the only reason why we put a 2 down there. Okay? Now let's do the odd numbers. Let's do the odd numbers. Okay? Can you think of some odd numbers right next to each other?
35.
Sure. Let's do 3, 5, and 7. Let's play again. If x is the first one, how would we write 5? X plus 2, because 5 is 2 more than 3. How would you write 7? X plus 4. Very nice. You guys are so smart. So take a look. Now let's reflect back on this while you're copying it down, right? If we're just talking about consecutive integers, yeah, it's like x, x plus 1, x plus 2. Yeah, there is a pattern. If you're talking about consecutive even and consecutive odd numbers, it's x, x plus 2, and x plus 4. Okay, so here we go. So the thing that makes these problems so hard is that they're word problems. A lot of people have trouble reading and understanding what they read. Raise your hand if you read stuff and you read it. You say the words to yourself, but it flows over your mind. It's almost as if you could read it over again, it would be brand new. The thing you should do when you're trying to read is talk to yourself about it. Have a conversation. What's going on? Try and get a picture in your head. Almost make it like TV. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just words. Think about the writing. Don't get me wrong. Reading is very difficult, but once you get it, there's all these possibilities that open up to you. You can learn almost anything. So let's talk. The sum of the squares of 2 consecutive positive integers is 113. Oh, boy. So I handed you out the sheet. Here's how they start. Do you see the stuff that I highlighted in red? 2 consecutive positive integers. Do you know what the integers are? So we got to use some algebra to try and at least describe them, take some notes. We're going to say that x equals the first consecutive positive integer. So if x is the first one, if x is that first integer, now once again, and the second integer is right next door to it, how would you write the second one in algebra? Yeah, just as you said just now. No, just as you said. Yeah, right? Let's go back. Let's go back to our notes just from the time before. Consecutive integers. We just described the first one. You write the second one by saying x plus 1. Okay, because it's one away. We don't know what it is. The only thing we know about it is that it's right next door to the first one. Okay, so here we go. So the second one is going to be x plus 1 equals the second consecutive, what? Oh, cosec. Sorry about that. Thank you. Consecutive positive integer. All right. Ah, yes. Was that so bad? No, that wasn't so bad. All we did was take notes on the problem, right? You have to do that in the initial step. So here we go. Now here's where it freaks out a little bit. Do you see the stuff that I'm highlighting in green? The sum of the squares. What does it mean to square something? No, I would have said square root it. What does it mean to square something? To double it, to multiply it by itself. So the sum of the squares of these numbers is 113. Do you know what the word is in English translated into math means? Equals. Oh, good. So this last part, if we were to translate it into math, is equals 113. Okay. The sum of the squares. Oh, the sum of the squares. The sum of the squares of the two consecutive positive integers is 113. That means that if we squared the first one and added it to the square of the second one, we'd get 113. So let's finish this problem off. Oh boy, this is going to be bad. We're going to have to solve this. Believe it or not, you've seen problems like this before. Okay? X squared, that's just x squared. But this one over here, what's it mean with that 2 on top? It means there's 2 of them being multiplied. Well, that's crazy. And from there, oh my gosh, we have to FOIL. Make it rain, right? X squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1. And then we're going to combine like terms, like these are alike and these are alike. And then I'm going to slow down, I promise. Let's keep going. So now we're going to set it equal to 0. We're going to set it equal to 0 and we're going to solve it. Jordan, remember, we're keeping an open mind. You're trying your best. I don't expect a lot. I don't expect a lot, but I do expect that you're gonna try. You're gonna try. Take a look. This is where we came from, right? We wrote it out. We translated from English. We multiplied. Now we're down over here. What 1 plus 1 plus 1 minus 113 is negative 112. Okay. Yeah. No, that's what I mean. If you're expecting the answer right away, absolutely not. You stick with it. It'll be okay. Okay. All right. All right. If it is on the midterm, it will be such a small part. It's highly unlikely it is, but I have to show it to you. And we're going to practice a little more on Monday, and then that's it. It'll be very rare if it gets asked.
Can we do the homework once
Okay.
together?
Now, here's the problem. Every time in the past 2 days that I've asked you to factor, what number has been in front of x squared? I mean, like, if you, there usually isn't a number in front of x squared. I mean, like, look, think about your homeworks. All of them, the numbers in front of x squared has been 1. But now we have a 2. So how do we deal with that, right? Yeah, Joe, wow, I'm very impressed, buddy. Very impressed. We're going to divide the whole thing by 2 because you can't factor it as long as there's a number in front of x squared. Later on in higher math, you'll learn that you can. Okay, but for right now, I want you guys to understand that all the problems that I'm going to pitch at you don't have a number in front of x squared. They're just easy, simple problems. So divide the whole thing through. Look, everything is divisible by 2. So look at what the problem becomes. Now, we can do stuff like that, right? Very nice, Naya. We do have to factor it. What does it factor into being? What does it factor into being? Can you think of two numbers that multiply to be negative 56 but add to be 1?
56 and 1.
8 and 7. 8 times 8 and 7. And once you have it here, then we're going to solve it just like we've been doing.
How does 8 and 7 make 1?
8 minus 7. Add to 1, but multiply to negative 56.
8 times negative 7 equals negative 58 minus 1.
Yeah. Bless you. Nope.
We're still not done?
Nope.
Wait, no, you're joking.
No, I'm serious. We're not done.
I mean,
So take a look. Take a look at where we came from. Take a look at where we came from. We talked about consecutive integers, even integers, odd integers. We looked at the problem. We described the integers. We translated the problem into English, and then we tried our best to solve through it. But are we done yet? No, because of a very important part of the problem. Hold on a minute, Justin, then I'll come get you. Because of this, it only wants positive integers. It only wants positive integers. So scroll all the way to the bottom. Look at the two answers you got. Are they both positive? No. No. So you have to reject this one. Reject. Reject. Because it's not positive. You have to reject it. Sometimes you get an answer and it doesn't work. Reject because it's not positive, which means this is really the only choice you have for x. And so when you look at your problem, the whole reason that you write out these first two steps is because it will tell you your final answer. If x is 7, that's what we found. If x is 7, what's the next one next door to it? 8. 8. And those are your two answers, 7 and 8. And the way that we write that down is that we just say, we go like this, we make these funny looking brackets, and we say 7 and 8.
what about 9?
No, because we only wanted the first two. That's it. Can you guys make these brackets? This is the equivalent of a manly cloud. Question number 2 is your homework.